Hello, hello, hello. Good to see you. You get fairy dust. I get fairy dust. Amelie gets fairy dust. And it's time for another lesson from the book Codependent No More by Melody Beatty. But some of you may be new here. And so I just want to, sometimes people are like, what the fuck is she doing? And I will tell you, the reason that I carry a wand is because... And why you get this is why you get fairy dust, is because this shit is so hard. It's so fucking hard that we actually do need fairy dust. Like we just need a little bit of it. And so that is me supporting you. The reason I carry a wand, for me, it's I've never said this before, so exclusive, bitch. It reminds me of my tools. I have tools. And so I have tools, and one of them is a wand. So anyway, and that when I do this very hard personal growth work, like healing from my fucking codependency, my life has become magical, absolutely magical. And just over time, when you feel like that your life is magical, you surround yourself with things that bring you joy and inspire magic. And so, anyway, that's what that is for. What else? Yeah. Oh, and this is, I'm kissing you. So, but it's not even like I'm blowing you kisses. But only to those who consent. So if it doesn't affect you if you are not interested in that. So, but this is for those who are interested in me blowing kisses, because again, this shit is so hard. Okay. So let's read. I am on page 73. I believe this is chapter 7. Yep. And the chapter is called Set Yourself Free. And I'm just going to read you a little story. Let me check okay. Let me tell you about Maria. This is written in the book. So she married a man who turned out to be an alcoholic. He was a binge drinker. He didn't drink every day, every weekend, or every month, but when he did, look out. He stayed drunk for days, sometimes weeks. He started drinking at 8 a.m. and drank until he passed out. He vomited, blah, 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 all the bad things, finances, got fired, created incredible chaos when he drank. But in between binges, life wasn't perfect either. There was always a sense of impending doom. Remember that. And unresolved feelings from the last binge and whatever. I'm putting words in her mouth. So let me just say, unresolved feelings filled the air. There were other unresolved problems, They could never get ahead of the disasters. When they were starting over, they were always, this is actually genius. They were always starting over with a dirty slate. So never a clean slate, a dirty slate. But it was better for Maria and her 3 children when her husband wasn't drinking. There was hope too that this time would be different. It never was different. For years, each time Maria turned around or turned her back, her husband went on a binge. Okay, so what I wanted to teach you is what came up for me is something I learned in a very early psychology class called The Cycle of Abuse. Again, if this doesn't fit for you, also just remember, anything you hear from me, 2 things. 1, take what you need and leave the rest. And I'm just a fucking person who has figured out how to make some of this work in their life, and take everything I say with a grain of salt, and only take it as truth if it resonates or if it worked for you. So anything that I recommend or think about, you just see if it works for you. If it doesn't apply, it's not for you. So this made me think of the cycle of abuse. And so if you're interested, I have a class about this. There's a link in my bio. So you would get access to my future classes, and the past videos. And one of them was on the cycle of abuse. Or as I called it, the cycle of I can't say it, cycle of dysfunction, aka codependency. There is no codependency without this cycle. And let me just walk you through it. So the cycle of abuse, or cycle of dysfunction, you could call it, is a dysfunctional cycle It could be mildly dysfunctional to extremely toxic and abusive, thus the original name, cycle of abuse. Okay, so let's start here. So let's say he just got off his binge. He's done binging, and like he's like, so they're starting with that dirty slate. So I would say when he stops binging, that is what is called the honeymoon. Like, oh good, it's good again. Like, I'm so glad, this is great. And then what can happen is remorse. And so just as an asterisk, sometimes like there's not these phases. Sometimes it's so bad that people just skip a lot of things. It can be honeymoon explosion. Where's my pen? That was supposed to say explosion. Okay, so let me go back to explaining it. So things are great. I'm so sorry it happened. It won't happen again. Wait. We gotta go this way. Sorry. It's hard to do it backwards. Okay. So honeymoon, great. And the remorse is, I'm sorry, it won't happen again, leads you to the honeymoon. And so then from there, boredom happens. So life just like and then stress happens. Stress in our life, stress with ourselves, stress with the other person, just stress. A bill is late, something happens, whatever. So stress builds. And this is what she was talking about, is that like the dread, like the impending doom, like you just know, and then eventually it leads into an explosion. And for me, an explosion could be a fight, like, how dare you, blah, blah, blah. But it also could be, for me, it would just be like, oh, he's drinking again. That's the explosion for me. It could be silent treatment is an explosion. Anything that's toxic or feels icky or bad, I label it as an explosion. Again, just this is the way I think of these things. And then you stay there for however long, and then somebody apologizes, and then we're back to the dirty slate, and we start over and over and over again. And the thing about, just to know about, just Google it. Just Google the cycle of abuse. I made one myself for my class. I made a special handout with the solutions to the cycle of abuse. And so for me, so how to get out of a cycle of abuse or dysfunction is to a few things. One is understand that you're in a cycle. If you see that you're in if you can start, like sometimes I have clients, and I'll do it too. Like I kind of will play almost like a bingo with it, or like I'll take a, I don't know, a pen or a sticker or something. And I'd just be like, okay, with this relationship, I'm here. With that relationship, I'm over here. With this relationship. So with me and this person, we just had an explosion. So me and my friend, we just had an explosion. But me and my husband, we're just in the boredom part. So something like that. So like, I just kind of keep track, but I am a bitch that we will all fall into it at some time or another, but I try to do my advanced personal growth work, which is why we need fairy dust. And I try to stay here. This is for me how to break the cycle for myself. One is to understand that I'm in a cycle. So just start getting familiar and thinking about things and like see if you can place it on a cycle. The second one is self-care, self-management, my personal growth work. What do I need to do to stop being in denial? What do I need? What boundaries do I need to set? Like just looking at self-care, self-love, self-compassion, that kind of stuff. Problem solving, solve the problem, whatever the problem is. If you're fighting about a flat tire, how to solve the problem is to call AAA or to call your friend that knows how to change a tire. Then we have what I call relationship management, which is too complicated to go in today. But again, I explained it in the class and it's on the handout, but which means for me, it's kind of like relationship management means I use my tools with other people. So remember before I had like self-management, self-care. And the other one is like, okay, I need to use the ladder of trust with this person, or I need to use this tool, or I need to, use nonviolent communication, so I have to manage the relationship. But the cycle of abuse is very seductive. It's the honeymoon is just like, it's like relief. And we're so tired of the bad times that when we get to the honeymoon, it's like, ugh, why? I don't want to talk about this. I don't want to talk about, can we stay in real life? I'm too exhausted from what just happened. I like this piece. And so let me walk on the eggshells. And then that leads to the cycle. So, so she, so my interpretation of what she is saying is that she was on this cycle. And without really knowledge, I mean, it's so funny too, because people do kind of use the language. Like, I feel like I'm just going around and around with this person, or I feel like we just keep having the same argument. There's these little hints that there's a cycle going on, and hers is that it's not all bad. Anyway, it's just something to think about. And, this work is very, very hard. It's very, very hard. But for me, it's like, again, I'm sure you've heard me say this before, but which hard do I want? Do I want the hard of walking on eggshells constantly and waiting for the next shoe to fall and the binge? Waiting for the next shoe to fall is another way of saying waiting for the explosion on the cycle of abuse. Same. So it's just by you listening and just even trying to entertain these ideas, or not even accept, but just kind of wrap your mind around the idea that, oh, what if, am I in a cycle? Who am I in a cycle with? And anyway, it can just be very helpful, because I don't know about you. So being on a cycle of abuse is really hard, and problem solving is really hard. I just like the consequences of my life better when I get off the cycle and on the line of using tools, taking care of myself, figuring this out, understanding that I'm in a cycle to begin with, and how the fuck do I get off of it? And the most important one of all, fucking solving problems. Solve the fucking problem. Problem solving. The problem isn't the fight. The problem is whatever needs to be handled. Like I said about the tire. So I hope that was helpful. I love you.